Hey, raise your hand if you won your last 5 games. Rasputin, I'm impressed that you could actually count that high.
Come on. Do math.
Hello, friends, and welcome back to ReddX, your source for the freshest daily cringe content anywhere on the internet. Promise, swearsies, it's just a fact, and it's totally science. Go ahead and look it up. Thanks in advance. Today we're diving back into Tales of Neckbeards, kind of. It seems more like it's gonna be an RPG horror story, but regardless of where it comes from, I promise you that the cringe is basically inbuilt. Everything that comes from my personal subreddit, r/ReddX reads, regardless of if I know where to stick it or not, it's basically guaranteed to have at least a little Scotia cringe involved. And this writer has been quite prolific. He's not appeared on the channel quite yet, but I am noticing quite a few posts popping up from user Witchfinger84, and quite a writer he is indeed. Perhaps Ramtide Caliber? Maybe even Soledad. It's been a while since we heard anything from that boy. So we're gonna jump in, see what we got today. I have quite high hopes. This is just another little one-off. Kind of while I work up the courage to jump back into Unfortunookie, because apparently the next Unfortunookie part is absolutely huge, but I don't know exactly what is huge about it, so I don't really want to spoil my holiday with it. Right after Christmas, though, we gonna jump into it, I promise you. But for today, let's see what we got. Like I said, we'll get some plugs and disclaimers out of the way, and then we will dive right into some of this Neckbeard stories, Tales of Neckbeards cringe. Blood for oil. Bad behavior at the game table between two titans of neckbeardery. Yes, give me some dueling neckbeards, bro. That's what I'm all about. And welcome to the channel, Witchfinger. I see you over there doing work. I definitely do appreciate it. So yes, let us begin our tale. Dear fans of ReddX. Pew, pew, pew. Tabletop gaming horror stories, etc. Strap in, because I have a story for you. But before I indoctrinate you into the global conflict that you are about to become a part of, I just have to ask you one thing. Could you have a great day? Could you do that for me? No, that's not the question. It's actually, trust me when I tell you that you are about to meet two human beings completely undeserving of your sympathy. And when the insults start flying back and forth, you'll know why. I hope they're at least clever enough to insult each other in interesting ways. Now, before we meet our contestants, let's talk about the game. Oh, we all just lost the game. Thanks for that. Our entertainment for the evening is Warhammer Underworlds, a small-scale tactical battle game where you and your opponent each control a small group of 3 to 7 warriors on a chessboard-like battlefield. These little Warhammer men take turns moving around the table, grabbing objectives, fighting and killing each other, of course, getting upgrades to become tougher or more dangerous, and sometimes even returning from the dead. The game uses dice rolling mechanics, as well as each player having their own deck of cards to manipulate the game. It is all the best parts of Magic the Gathering and Warhammer all mixed together. Yeah, the deck of cards sounds pretty cool. I haven't heard anything about this. But as I've said, I'm not too big on tabletops or animes. Video games are my proclivity, but I would be interested in playing this. 3 to 7 warriors, I could probably actually afford the figurines for that. Warhammer figurines are so insanely expensive. Anybody know why that is? I guess because people will pay it. Anyways, however, I must state that because the dice and the cards are random, it's also the worst parts of Magic the Gathering and Warhammer mixed together. This generally means that there are a lot of factors that can make this game super swingy. No amount of strategic brilliance or planning can save you from one nasty roll of the die in a critical moment. You can always lose a Magic game by having bad draws and just never getting the cards you want. And you can always lose a Warhammer game by having bad dice rolls and never killing your opponent's little army men. In this game, yeah, both of those things can happen. I mean, I wouldn't worry about that too much because my nat luck is somewhere between like 15 and 18, I'm pretty sure. It's like one of the only stats that I was actually blessed with. And considering the fact that I would have no skill into this game going into it, I think that would work out in my favor. So yeah, you haven't talked me out of it. I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna play it. Now, all that is not to say that Warhammer Underworlds isn't fun, because it's plenty of fun. But it's even more fun when it's played by a couple of neckbeards that are so sure of their own intellectual superiority that they cannot acknowledge that winning a game has a lot of random back and forth swingy factors, and that isn't exactly something to brag about. Yeah, like I say often, it's just a game. Who really cares? Oh no, I lost. What's going to happen next? I guess life will carry on as usual, which for me is great. And for a neckbeard, probably not so great. So at the end of it all, I win. I get to play a fun game, and then I get to return to my awesome life. Not to I'm sure his life is awesome too, you know? I wish my mom made me homemade chicken tenders.
I am making baked macaroni and cheese with a major twist.
And what's the twist?
Breast milk.
So with all that said, I guess let's meet our contestants. Contestant 1, Rasputin the Russian. In a lot of ways, Rasputin is a tragic character. He's a first-generation Russian immigrant that came to America with his parents as a baby shortly before the Soviet Union collapsed. Because he came over here when he was so young, he's basically an American and has lived here for his whole life. His parents were smart and worked extremely hard to be successful. God bless America. They were able to send him to college, and he became successful himself, getting multiple degrees and a good career in a stable field where he makes 6 digits a year. See, Rasputin's got a good life, I guess. Now I feel a little bit stupid about what I said right before. I don't think I'm making 6 digits a year. In terms of his professional life, things are going good for Rasputin. He's also a genius with an IQ in the 150s, and just like most geniuses that you've probably met, he can brain real good, but he doesn't people so good. We all have our gifts, I suppose. Rasputin's problem is that he has a severe case of adult onset neckbeardism. Oh, tragic. Rasputin wasn't really a neckbeard in high school. If you look at his yearbook photos, he was actually at one time a handsome lad. Unfortunately, he had let himself go in a bad way since then. Somewhere during or after college, he prioritized his intellectual pursuits over his health, as neckbeards tend to do, and he became problematically obese. And let's say it again for those in the back, God bless America. His academic seclusion and his big brain IQ also left him socially maladjusted, so he has a tendency to put people off in that way that neckbeards tend to do. And just like neckbeards, he doesn't understand the consequences of his social ineptitude. Of course, like every neckbeard, he also has some strange ideas about women and relationships, which was also a side effect of that tragic case of adult onset neckbeardism. Because he wasn't a virgin and didn't have problems getting dates in college, basically he's a victim of his own success and lives in fear of the idea that any woman he meets as a potential romantic partner is a gold digger that will just use him for his money. Yeah, that is super tragic, man. I don't even know how to go about combating that. I met my wife when I was broke as hell. She was ride or die when I was broke, so I don't mind, winning bread for her and giving her the whole basket of bread. I'm like, here you go. I take a couple, pieces of bread for myself, of course, but I do trust her 100% because she has been there. If I was a success before meeting her, if she wasn't so integral to my success, yeah, I might feel kind of the same way, but at some point you do just gotta take the leap, Maybe hide your wealth or downplay your wealth just a little bit and see if she's still actually interested in you before taking the leap. But Yeah, there's gotta be ways around it. You're smart, ain't you? No reason to be forever alone. Anyways, Rasputin's greatest hubris, however, is that between being a beefy boy, not having a lot of compelling and conversation-worthy interests, and a general lack of social graces, his financial success is fundamentally the only thing about him that any woman could possibly want. Jesus Christ. That's a harsh way to put it, OP. Come on, man. Surely he's got something worth talking about in that big brain of his. There's some woman out there that enjoys, astrophysics or quantum mechanics or, Warhammer. They can connect on some level. I believe in you, Rasputin. This dude basically ruined his own chances at romantic fulfillment by hyper-focusing on his academic and corporate career and neglecting his personality and his health, thereby becoming his own worst enemy. Other than that, he's mostly harmless and generally a kind person. See, he's not a bad guy. And I'm sure the want to change is within him already. Maybe he just needs somebody to show him the way. And if that somebody is a lady, then all the better. I like to think of Rasputin as Exhibit A in the personal struggle against neckbeardism. Never stop shaving your neck. Always keep that healthy balance. Everyone is a recovering neckbeard to some degree. Everyone has a personal battle to fight. Being a well-adjusted human being is a process, not a result. Unfortunately for Rasputin, it definitely seems like he is losing his personal battle. But he has not lost the war. Let's keep that in mind, okay? I still hold out hope for him. I kind of like him, although he's definitely a titan of neckbeardism, as you put it. Contestant 2, Mujahideen, the wacky packy. Oh, no! Don't do that. We're not going there. Sidebar. Yes, I am aware that the Mujahideen that fought Russia are Afghans. I don't know why we have to bring any of this into it. Can't they just be normal-ass neckbeards? Maybe it's relevant to the story. I guess we'll see. So, if you tried to pick the perfect opponent for Rasputin, it would be Mujahideen. He was born here, and like Rasputin, his family fled turmoil in their native Pakistan and came to America to find success. God bless America. Mujahideen's father is a very important, wealthy man with an important job, which I will not disclose because for anybody that knows me, it is already easy enough for them to figure out who I'm talking about. But for anyone that doesn't know me that well, Mujahideen's father is in such a narrow and highly specialized field that it wouldn't be difficult to figure out the rest. That's really cryptic, my dude. That could be basically anything. But okay, suffice to say, rich man, important job, maybe government contract killer, something like that. That's what I'm going to go with. That makes it way more interesting. Mujahideen's character weakness is that his father was absent in his life. Mr. Important Rich Daddy was, and still is, a workaholic that did not make time for his kids and filled his lack of fatherly presence with an unhealthy level of material wealth and privilege. Just another classic case of a guilty absentee parent buying the love that they were never around to give. There is a lesson here for any parents or would-be parents. Don't let your kids grow up rich. Secure your bag and then retire. If you make them, you raise them. If you don't spend time with your kids when they're kids, they'll still be riding your coattails when they're adults. Retire, he says. God bless America. Yeah, I don't know about that, Chief. I know my kids are going to find their own way. I'm not stressing too hard about that. When they're kids, let them be kids. Do spend time with them, but give them some shit, You can spoil them a little bit, that's fine. My 10-year-old doesn't even want Barbie dolls anymore, so now I gotta buy lots of dinosaurs for the 4-year-old before he doesn't want dinosaurs anymore. You know what I'm saying? About the riding coattails and all this, I don't know nothing about that yet. Talk to me in another decade. This has naturally led Mujahideen to become a deeply flawed and barely functional adult. He can barely read. Oh, Jesus. The only piece of paper he has with his name on it is a DUI. And for the last few years, he hasn't had a job that his daddy didn't hand to him. He lives rent-free in the garage of a teardown that the family owns. Oh, and of course, like every spoiled adult child, he is completely convinced that he's brilliant and he's God's gift to entrepreneurship. And once he starts his own business, and or daddy croaks and leaves him a fortune, he'll show the world how brilliant he really is. Naturally, because he already knows everything about everything, he doesn't need higher education and actively refuses to go to college well into adulthood, even though daddy would bankroll his entire tuition. Bro, that means you could go to college anywhere in the country, and you're passing up that golden ticket? I don't get it, honestly. That is frustrating to watch. And it's not that you can't make something of yourself without college, but the key point there being that you actually have to make something of yourself. So at this moment, I have a lot more respect for Rasputin than Mujahideen. Mujahideen really doesn't have any problem with the ladies, other than the fact that he has a history of choosing them poorly. And he isn't overweight, so by the metric of romantic success or health, he doesn't really qualify as a neckbeard. However, where Mujahideen shines is a neckbeard-adjacent case of textbook narcissistic tendencies as a result of his spoiled and undisciplined lack of parenting, coupled with the complete lack of any actual experience, training, or merit. The beard on the outside is weak, but the beard on the inside is oh so strong. Perfect example of the Dunning-Kruger effect. I know a little bit about this thing, so obviously I'm an expert, until you dig deeper into the field and you're like, holy crap, there's a lot more to understand that I have no grasp on. And it takes a certain amount of humility to admit that, so I don't expect a neckbeard to ever do so. Now, I should say that neither of our contestants are wholly bad people. I've just chosen to highlight their flaws rather than their merits. Both individuals are compassionate and charitable to their friends and loved ones, and are capable of treating other human beings with dignity. Unfortunately, as any follower of neckbeard lore knows, the primal enemy of a neckbeard is not a Chad. It is another neckbeard that they disagree with. I'd say that's about equal with a Chad. Although you might have a point, OP, because I don't really see a neckbeard trying to punch upwards at a Chad. They usually punch downwards or adjacent. So yeah, I'll go with that. A neckbeard's worst enemy is another neckbeard. Now, the reason that Rasputin and Mujahideen are such great entertainment is because they are cosmically matched foes, the yin to each other's yang, one being the opposite of the other in every terrible way, with the only thing that they have in common being their magnificently bloated egos. Let's see if we can't pop one of those today. Both contestants were children of immigrants that fled collapsing regimes for a better life, but where one was raised with parents that instilled a deep value in education, the other basically wasn't raised at all, and grew up to be a spoiled know-it-all. Where one was fat, sloppy, and unsuccessful with the ladies, the other was physically robust and didn't have any problems finding himself a girlfriend. Where one was meticulous, slow, strategic, and measured, the other was fly-by-ass unpredictable and illiterate. A master of improvisation, if only because he seemed incapable of any forethought, so improvisation was kind of just his default state. You can't teach a hammer to love nails.
You can't teach a hammer to love nails, son.
I do like this OP. Witchfinger, you are quite an insightful individual, I will say that. You've cut to the quick of both of these beards, and I can't wait to see them butt heads. When do we get into that? Come on. I'm starting to get antsy now. Where one was a financially successful homeowner on the fruits of their own labor, the other was a YouTube-watching cryptocurrency speculator crashing rent-free at daddy's house. YouTube-watching cryptocurrency speculator. Bruh, I feel kind of seen by that one. All right, wrap it up. Basically, we have every conceivable opposite character flaw that any two people could have in two separate people arrayed against each other on the field of card and toy soldier nerd battle. Yes, I want them to slay each other so bad. Every weekend we convened at someone's house, usually rent-free or die-hard's daddy garage, to determine which set of personality flaws was the most foul and degenerate, the only way that we knew how, in the violent and bloody depths of the Warhammer Underworlds. Place your bets, ladies and gentlemen. I'm backing Rasputin, personally. He's got that big IQ. He's gonna take this dude down. It's gonna be like, you know, the most brutal game of 4D chess you ever seen. Improvisation can't stack up against an IQ like that. Mark my words. Now, whenever we convene to play Warhammer Underworlds, everyone involved, not just Rasputin and Mujahideen, would try to play as many of our peers with as many of our factions as we could, just for the sake of variety, keep things interesting. However, the reason that we all came was the grudge match over oil rights in the Middle East, the Hajj in the garage, the battle between Rasputin and Mujahideen. Their games would always start with the same amount of civility and dignity that you would expect from a couple of adult gamers in their 30s. Yes, these are grown-ass men in their mid-30s. Again, I feel kind of seen. Can you just stop calling me out so much? I swear that I do have a certain amount of civility and dignity, despite what some people might say. But as soon as there was one bad roll of the dice, oh, adult gamers in their 30s is a good thing. Okay. And then it melts down on a bad roll of the dice or a misinterpretation of the rules, as there often were, because Rasputin seldom read the rule book and Mujahideen basically could barely read. Or, you know, some other event that precipitated a harsh reversal of fortune or a turning point in the game. They would lose all semblance of civility and resort to incredibly hostile and personal attacks where nothing was sacred. Nothing was sacred. Let there be blood. Have you ever had one of those times where something was so wrong that you couldn't even come up with a single example of what was wrong because it had just been such an ongoing and pervasive thing that you just couldn't pick out a single individual example and explain it anymore? Like if someone asked you what it was specifically, you wouldn't be able to pick a single reason because the whole thing had just been fundamentally wrong for so long that you couldn't even isolate one little thing in the entire cosmically fucked up whole. That is what trying to remember this level of crap talk was like. I can't even come up with one verbatim thing that they said because, well, they said everything. Oh, sometimes it's best to just leave it a mystery. Let my own mind wander. You just be like, yeah, the worst insult you can think of, they said that for sure. Once the floodgates were open, they just tore each other down. Like it was a sloppy divorce, and they were arguing over the dog. It was like asking someone who escaped from North Korea where the best tasting grass was. There really was no best tasting grass when you're starving so badly that you crawl on the ground and literally eat grass. All grass is equally wonderful and equally awful. Oh, now I'm kind of sad that I didn't jump into witch finger stuff earlier. It's just gorgeous. What follows is a reenactment of the kind of verbal altercation that is basically a weekly occurrence at the weekend Warhammer Underworld grudge match. Pay for your whole seat, but you only need the edge. This is not a dramatization or hyperbolic in any way. As I mentioned, I do not recall these insults verbatim. All I can tell you is that these insults were used, and a conversation like this definitely happened multiple times. Basically, every time that they played. Every weekend. For months. How did they just not punch each other? Maybe on some level they legitimately enjoy it. This is how they let off steam or something like that. I guess that's how I'm going to phrase it to myself, just to make sure I don't lose my mind. But before the conversation, a trigger warning. No decent human being should ever read the following conversation. It contains literally everything wrong that humanity has ever conceived of. Oh, don't build it up too much.
So I guess this is gonna be Mujahideen's voice. This is gonna be Rasputin's.
So Mujahideen says,
Nice game, loser. You failed that game like you failed the bar exam.
Rasputin,
At least I took the bar exam. You flunked out of code camp on the first midterm.
Mujahideen,
Yeah, well, you studied 5 years to fail. I just kicked your ass all over the board in no time. Yeah, sucks to suck.
Sidebar, this did actually happen. Rasputin did fail the bar, and Mujahideen did indeed flunk out of code camp. Rasputin counters with,
You couldn't study if you wanted to. You could barely read.
Muja,
Yeah, and I had to have OP read my cards for me. And I still beat your ass.
he literally can't read. How does that happen? What is reality anymore? Rasputin,
And you're shit-faced.
Muja,
I kicked your ass blind drunk without reading my cards. And that just shows how much better I am than you.
Sidebar, hilariously, he does often beat this dude while blind drunk. Aw, poor Rasputin. He was the underdog. I was cheering for him. Rasputin,
At least I don't have a DUI.
Muja,
At least I'm not a fat virgin. Oh boy.
here we go. We're turning up the heat. Rasputin,
I'm not a virgin.
Muja,
That's even worse. Ugh. I feel bad for the prostitute that has to go looking under all that fat for your micro penis.
Rasputin,
Oh, so now you think I pay for sex too?
Muja,
Looking like that? Yeah.
Rasputin,
Well, I guess it's better to pay a professional than date a coke whore. Nice restraining order.
Muja,
Hey, the judge still gave it to me. And she had great tits.
Sidebar, she did have great tits. She was also paying for coke by scraping her knees. Oh god, dude. They know far too much about one another's lives. It's almost like they're friends. Almost, but friends that just use every piece of dirt they have to completely bag on the other one. I don't understand. Rasputin,
I can't believe that you were with her that long, actually believing that she wasn't paying for the coke with her gag reflex.
Sidebar, nobody gives hot girls coke for free.
Please give me cock. Cock.
Facts, just facts. Don't do drugs. Muja,
At least I had a girl that brought home free coke.
Rasputin,
It wasn't free, and I don't think anyone actually wants to date someone that does, stuff like that.
Muja,
Yeah, apparently beggars can be choosers, right? Did you figure that out while you were jerking off in the corner instead of banging prostitutes at the rich guy underground Hollywood sex party? What? What? What is going on?
Rasputin,
I wasn't jerking off in the corner, and at least I get invited to rich guy underground sex party.
what is happening right now? I feel so lost. We spent so long introducing these characters, and it's just gone completely off the rails into the woods. I don't know where we are anymore. Muja.
Nobody wants to go there, especially if you're gonna be there.
Sidebar. True. Ooh, OP throwing some shade on Rasputin. Come on now. It's a rich guy sex party, not a hot guy sex party. Rasputin.
And they're not hookers.
Sidebar. They're escorts, and they're not bought, they're sponsored. That's an important distinction for fat cat sleazeballs. Us working folk just wouldn't understand. Yeah, that's how you know you really made it. When your hookers are sponsored instead of bought. Okay. Rasputin.
And if you're gonna make fun of my weight, put your money where your mouth is. Why won't you come play racquetball with me again?
Sidebar. Rasputin did actually invite Mujahideen to play racquetball, and Muja went once and never went back. Rasputin legitimately won. See, he's good at stuff. Even though he's a big boy. Big boy can move. Muja says, probably just to front.
Okay, fine. Let's go.
Rasputin.
All right, I'll see you there on Sunday at 11.
Muja.
I can't. I gotta do a thing for my dad.
Rasputin.
Damn, 20 hours a week is too much work for you?
Hey, y'all, come look at this.
Knock down, drag out, and I am loving it. Sidebar. Mujahideen only works 20 hours a week at the family restaurant that daddy lets him manage, which basically means sitting in the back room for 20 hours a week. Muja.
Well, yeah, some of us actually have family obligations.
Rasputin.
Right, because you can't work for anyone else if you don't have a resume.
Muja.
Are the losers still talking? Hey, raise your hand if you won your last 5 games.
Rasputin.
I'm impressed that you could actually count that high.
Come on. Don't mess.
Holy God, dude. This is just art. This is beautiful. Oh, can I just get 2 actors and like make a reenactment of this? This is what I want to see more than like anything else. Sidebar, Muja can actually count. You know, he had to measure out the snow that his co-cooker girlfriend brought home after a hard night of earning it. A very hard night. Hard like an erection. Penises. I'll be so surprised if this thing doesn't get demonetized. Muja.
I'm impressed that you can cheat as much as you do and still lose, even when I'm drunk.
Sidebar, we do often suspect Rasputin of cheating. His luck is sometimes a little too convenient, a little too often. Also, sometimes he conveniently interprets cards incorrectly. Rasputin.
Oh, cheating? Like that incredible luck streak you had with that attack?
Sidebar, we actually started keeping a tally of how many times Muja and Rasputin rolled critical hits throughout the game for the sake of determining who was luckier and had a better excuse for losing during this kind of crap talk. Muja.
My lucky streak? You rolled 12 crits this game. We counted. You crit almost every turn you had and still lost.
Rasputin.
Oh, so what? You went on a crit streak too. You had it when you needed it, obviously.
Muja.
Yeah, well, maybe we should redistribute your crits, and you can go stand in the bread line, you friggin' commie. Oh, God.
This is not going well. Rasputin.
Shut up, unmentionable redacted racial slur.
Radio edit. Sidebar. Every time something like this would happen, Rasputin would look around to see if his peers approved of his language, as if someone who was offended might leap through a window and punch him in the teeth. I just decided to stare at him deadpan because, honestly, it wasn't so much that I was offended by the racial slur, but more that I was just disappointed that a person could live to adulthood and still think that it was acceptable to talk like that. I mean, they've punched below the belt so much, are we really surprised that racial epithets are getting dragged into it? 'Cause I'm not. Muja.
Go back to the gulag, Comrade Putin.
Rasputin.
I'm not a communist. I'm a capitalist. I've got a better job and I make more money than you.
Muja.
And you still come over here and redistribute my booze. Why don't you bring a bottle next time?
And this just goes on and on and on and on and on until either Rasputin eventually leaves or Mujahideen is just too shithouse to continue and eventually blacks out while listening to bad house music on full volume at 3 a.m. Yeah, the best kind of neighbor. It's not a one-timer either. Mujahideen usually gets to the point of sloppy drunk where he just cuts all the way loose and starts drinking Costco liquor out of a red party cup. Not shots, entire 12-ounce cups. I know he's holding out waiting for his dad to die so he can get the inheritance or whatever, but the way that dude drinks, he's gonna have liver disease in no time flat. So yeah, you can probably guess that the neighbors love us. Tune in next time when I attempt to capture an actual transcript between the tabletop titans of bad behavior. Will the cholesterol comrade finally take Mujahideen's oil? Or just his last stick of butter? Will Mujahideen die of liver failure? Or will he repel the communists from the Holy Land by drinking all of their vodka? Will either of them ever actually pop a load in a woman and reproduce? Oh God, we hope not. That last one is too horrible to think about. All this and more disappointing dialogue from fully grown men in our next thrilling episode of Bad Behavior at the Game Table. It doesn't have quite the same ring as Tales from the Tabletop, but we're networking the name. It's going to be all right. Not networking, workshopping. I don't know what I'm saying. Postmortem. I actually took a notepad to the last game session after writing this post so I could actually write down their shade throwing verbatim. So the next post in the saga will indeed be verbatim. P.S. As a philosophical questions for the fans of Ramtide's poop story, when in a handicapped restroom stall, do you shit normally or do you grip the handrails to squat out a furious bowl blaster?
Skip it up and down.
Which finger? You're gonna fit right in. We're friends already. Oh my God. I must admit that I wish I could do bull blasters, but my knees are just really bad for playing football. These two dudes, obviously, you know, they're not completely reprehensible people. They just enjoy ripping at each other, which isn't completely bad. I've had a few friendships like that when I had the mental fortitude to interact with people like that. And it does offer like a little bit of catharsis, you know? And if this is what you need after a long 20-hour week sitting in a restaurant that your dad owns, then I guess go for it. Rasputin probably legitimately does have a stressful work week, so I'm glad that he found somebody that he can take out his frustrations on just a little bit. This is like a whole lot of dirty laundry to get aired out in a room full of people, but I guess if everybody knows, then whatever. It was legitimately hilarious, though. Oh, going blow for blow. You just love to see it. I did kind of falsely assume that it was going to be a one-off, so I don't know when part 2 will make its way onto the channel. Probably after we clear out some other stuff, but I am looking forward to it. My face legitimately hurts after that story, and I hope that you guys got some laughs out of it as well. If you did, I hope that you like, comment, and or subscribe. Maybe share the video around if you got somebody who loves, you know, co-cookers or something like that. I don't know. I don't judge. That's all up to you. We've also got a bunch of links in the description, of course. My podcast, super important. If you could rate it on Spotify, I would be so thankful for that, because Spotify has a rating system now, apparently. We've also got a bunch of playlists if you're looking for something different from the channel, and of course, plugs. The most important ones of those being my Teespring for that merch and Mr. and Mrs. ReddX, where me and my wife kick back with a little bit of counter-creeping praying mantis every once in a while. I hope you check all that out. And do not neglect my social medias, of course, Twitter, Discord, Facebook. I would love to see you coming on through, sending me a message. Super cool stuff. We've also got my Patreon and my gorgeous, wonderful, beautiful, generous patrons. I'd like to thank them as I do every episode. Jerry Much, so thank you. Robert Waits, Jarhead Jerry, Oorah, Logan Wolf, River Jerry, Conrad Ingy, not Comrade Ingy. Captain Cloud Jerry, Hong Kong, Aaron W, Twisted Child, Cinema Susie, Danny, Jerry Nerdnick, For Auld Lang Syne, Fire Drake, Giggle Jerry, Hee Hee, Ayureri, the most different Jerry spelling, Jarry, the pirate, Livison loves Jerry, hey, so does ReddX, Rogue, Silent Revolver, the original Jerry, Becca, Jerish Kutsune, Little Lone Wolf, Matthew Simmons, welcome again, my friend, Satori, 211 Jerry, the return of Jerry, a bundle of Jerry's coming for your toes. Oh, my toe. It's a Turtles in Time reference. And again, welcome. A Jerry, a Jungle and Jerry's, a Justy Draconian Jerry. Alunia, Althea Blue, Anunnaki, Assassin Pug Jerry, Bang Bang, Atheist Jerry, So Euphoric, Grizzly, Bailey Joy, Bearded Jerry, watch out for that guy, Bitch Gremlin, Blade the Hero, Blameless Fish, Blip Bloop Jerry, but Jerry, it's cold outside, Camille Sarah, Commander J Tank, Deltarune Jerry, Dennis Dayton, Dinosaur Nightlight, Disposable Waifu, Dragon Shade, Aaron Lennox, Frozen Over Studios, Grand Tom got ran over by a reinbeard. That's Mr. J. We also got Gypsy, Hadrian BR, Heathcliff, Itchy Nuts, Just Scratching Bro, a pimp named Jay Crisp, yes, you have to say the whole thing, J.M. Coon, Jennifer Schaefer, Jerry Blacktail, Jerry, Milady Nix, Jerry the Small Jerry, they're the other Jerrys, Jerry the Outlaw Mother Trucker, honk, John Hero, John Jerry Jingleheimer Smith, his name is my name too, actually I'm ReddX though. For real. Jolly Black Jerry, Sibufa, cause if you boo for this free, KJW Kajow, Crewhee, Miss Monday, Lord Jerryo, leader of the Thunder Jerrys, ho! Jack's Rule, Melgar the Destroyer, Mr. Carrot 797, Go for Your Eyes, Natari, Nightmare Jerry, Origami Jerry Steve, Panda Prince Jerry, Phantom of the Pines, Jerrykins and Jerry Beth, Ramtide Lacrimates, I still haven't looked it up, Rose Jerry Miller, TSM Kirby, Sarita the Lolita, Serrated Ash, Staples, aka Jerry Yeet, Stephanie Goodner, Synaptic Boomstick, Brilliant Tamago, Tato Ferret, Teddy the Police, 10-Ton Monster, The One True Fusky, Tom, puts the Jerry on the inside that counts, Church, Treeberg, Vigilante Justice, Viking Jerry, we suspect a conspiracy is involved, the police deny any existence of Marble Jerry. Dude, this is getting deep now. What does the beard say? Will Max, Comrade Mooney, Kira, you're a wizard, Jerry. Redwin, Goose says honk, Jerry Atrick, Naga Viper, Cy Jerry the Cyborg, a normal Jerry. I worry about Marble Jerry. We should ask Sherlock Jerry Holmes for help. We can try. Hunter of Jerry's, Devourer of all things tasty, it is Tom, Admiral T Tank, Alunia, Amara, Atomic Jerryzilla, AZ, Babsy Coon, welcome back, friend, Banished Knight, Barbushka's Irradiated Jam, Broken Spine, Horseradish, the original different Jerry, Cake Jerry, California Jerry Girl, yeah, Canadian Lynx, Chevron 7 Locked, I don't even know what that means, Jerry, my brain's melting. Chris Meska, Cinnamon Bunny Dog, come with me if you want to, Jerry. Come with me if you want to, Jerry. Furry Warrior Jerry, Crip Titties, Cuban Jerry, Defon Jerry, Dopamine Drought, not around here, bruh. Electrical Fennec, Ghost of Alpha, give her both inches. It gets me every time. He not HFT Mayor. Holy Berry, Jerry. How's your short game, Jerry? Hydra Jerry, Jeffrey, welcome Jeffrey. Can I say it like that? Jeffrey, I am Jeffrey. What the fuck is going on? Tom and Jerry, or Jerry and Tom. versus Santa Werebeard Apocalypse. Jerry in a Subaru STI. Jerry Binks. Jerry Aldo Rivera. Jerry Bean. Yum. Jerry Roxas. Yay. Jerry role-playing game. Judge Jerry and Executioner. King Tom, smasher of Jerry Zillas. Now we got a fight on our hands. Kitsykin, Crafty Kitty Cat, Life of a Guardian, Little Ann Woods, Lucia Lovecraft, maybe next time, Midnight Sun, Milkfed Gimp, Miss Duchess, Not Invisible Angel, I see you, One Leg Jerry, hoping for a new year. Oh, it's coming, whether you want it or not. Origami Cam, Ghosty, Raptorite, she's my Jerry Pie. Go drink a Mountain Dew or a bit surprise. Cringe so good, make a grown man cry. Sweet Jerry Pie. Snary, that's Snob Jerry. Spoony the Rogue, Steampunk Ellie, Terry, or the crippling duality of being both a Tom and a Jerry. The Necro Jerry Con, the original Jerry, not the most different Jerry, maybe to Infinite Jerry and beyond. Definitely. Tuna Fish Jerry, Aquarium Escapee, Zestaboo Jerry, Tom Promise, Jerry Swears. Oh no, bad Tom. Tom be a good boy, don't swear, it's just facts, holy science, go look it up. And by it, I mean another ReddX video, if you want, whatever. Also, thanks to my $1 patrons. Holy God, dude. Patreon just absolutely exploding recently. And I'm loving it. It gives me a good laugh every time I go through. People changing their name, give me the old mix up, you know. It used to be a race of like how fast I can get through the patrons. And now it's like... just inject some personality into it. Love the effort that people are putting in to give me a good laugh at the end of the videos. So thank you guys all so much. I do hope some other people will consider supporting on the Patreon, whether you have a funny name or not. And if you can't afford to do it right now, I mean, don't sweat that too hard. You came through, you watched the video. What else can I really ask except for you to maybe come back and do the same thing again tomorrow? Because that'd be pretty cool. In order to do so, you need to keep yourself safe out there. Wash your hands. But also, take some time out and do something that you personally enjoy today, like, indeed, watching another ReddX video. Yes. Always remember, friends, that you are loved, you are worthy, and you definitely deserve it. I shall see you in the next one. And until then, bye-bye.